In Austin, Texas, on the east side, there's a bar called Shangri-La. Go inside, past the door person, through the omnipresent Austin back patio, past the food truck serving girl dinner, into a hidden corner with a door. This is the door to the Treasury, a limited-capacity cocktail bar, an intimate, sometimes even private space that has class without pretension. Here the bartenders are engaging, the music is always good, and the drinks are impeccable. A place like this makes the East Side feel like home, and not just a place to Uber to black out in a crush of people singing along to Mr. Brightside. This is a place to slow down and savor your drink and your company. On this episode of Bon Temps Club, I sat down with bar manager Antonio Matta and bartender Bonnie Scott to talk about speakeasies and what goes into cultivating a vibe. This is Bon Temps Club at the Treasury. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Salute.
That's good.
That's very good. It's good stuff.
What is that?
All right, so it is the product itself is called Jebiga, and it is a Serbian rakia, which is a plum brandy.
Plum brandy.
Yeah, it's made in.
That's tasty.
Yeah, it's made in a mountain region called Koch, C-O-C with a weird little accent thing on the hat.
Coach.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. You know, small batch thing. Like father and son that have distillery that are part of a village that have like the place to get all the farm. That's what I'm looking for here. The farm where they get all the plums from, where there's literally the property next door. So
cool.
Everything's very like localized in what they do. Owned by Bill Gould from Faith No More.
No kidding.
Yeah, he fell in love with this stuff and Serbian culture in general in 1994. I think he said they went and played there, and he started going back and traveling there a whole bunch. And
That's awesome.
it's kind of how I met him, was through this brand, and how I kind of when I went to Serbia in 2010, got there at 9 in the morning, get to a hostel, and the guy's like, "Hey, little early to check in, but can leave backpack here, take a nap on couch if you like, but please have shot rakia." And it's like 9 a.m. and I'm like, "Dan, dude, can I get a cup of coffee?" And he's like, "Yes, of course, but rakia first." And I was kind of introduced to that whole world that way. And that's when I told Bill that story, he started laughing. I was like, "That is very much that culture, yes."
That's rad.
Yeah.
Okay. First, welcome to Bon Temps Club. My name is Will Hubble. You are Antonio Mattis?
Matta.
Matta? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
You're taking up my Instagram there?
Yeah, I was looking at your, yeah. I should have asked you your last name a while ago, but here we are.
Right.
Antonio Matta and Bonnie
Scott.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. We're here at the Treasury. The Treasury is a cocktail bar / speakeasy. Would you call it a speakeasy?
No, we pay taxes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about, because there is this speakeasy is very kind of trendy thing, right? But you're of the opinion that a real speakeasy is actually underground, not paying taxes.
Right.
Okay.
Hilariously enough, to the point where it's like there's this concept of the speakeasy bar is, I was talking about a place that actually is a speakeasy because it is illegally operated and that sort of thing. And I use the word, no, it's a legit speakeasy, which is kind of not how that works. But yeah, I mean, it's a big trend, and I get it. These bars are very much all the rage, and they've been doing this for a long time. I mean, like some of the resurgence of cocktail culture came in the form of Milk and Honey and Employees Only, which were both kind of speakeasy cocktail bars in New York.
Oh, okay.
And that was in like 99 and 2001 when those bars opened respectively. So, this is like everyone just kind of catching on to that trend eventually, I guess.
Did you need to use a password to get in there or anything?
You just
and
had
did they pay taxes?
You had to match, right? You had to match a certain set of approvals, basically. Like I know that Milk and Honey had house rules. Also, these places were usually fairly small, so you can only fit so many people in there. Milk and Honey had some house rules about it, so you had to basically be civilized.
Sure.
Which we don't have that as much of a.
Not as strict about the civilization.
We try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to we started off trying to encourage the idea of using indoor voices, but on a Friday and Saturday night,
right.
There's only so much we can do here.
Yeah.
I don't want people to not have a good time.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, are y'all ever do you are you selective about the people that you let in at all? Because you have the little video screen over there.
Treasury TV, as we call it.
Treasury TV. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the only kind of requisites I really have are, I won't let a pub crawl come through here because that's just going to ruin the vibe. And I have asked people to please use indoor. Like I said, you don't have to use library voices, but please try to use an indoor voice.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoy the idea of being pleasantly surprised when I look at somebody on the screen on Treasury TV and decide that maybe you look at them and you're like, this is gonna be great, and then get surprised by how cool this person really is.
Yeah, yeah. Were you gonna say something about it?
It's mostly just like so we can see the number of people, but it is kind of
Right.
fun to like observe and be like, what are these people gonna be like? Or like sometimes we'll do a little dance. They don't know that we're seeing them, and then we'll do a little dance, do something goofy. I saw a group playing Heads Up. That was very funny. And then they came down. They will come down. They're like, oh, you guys could see us. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We watched all of that.
Seen some really crazy stuff.
You ever see anything like dirty?
Yes,
Yes.
I see
Yeah.
people making out all the time. Sometimes it's kind of cute. They'll like be all sweet and loving. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, get a room.
Yeah.
Seen multiple people peeing up there. Very
Nuh-uh.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gross because it's upstairs. Like, where is
it's-
that going?
I don't know. I think
Back
there is
into
a
the
drain
earth.
up there,
There is.
to be honest. But
Okay.
like that is still gross. It's not that private up there. So
You're-
like that's
you're
not
on
the best
video,
corner to
yeah.
go pee in. There's also toilets upstairs, so I don't really know. Drunk people are going to be drunk. Yes, I think the gnarliest peeing story is this lady who walked up, totally pulled down her pants all the way down and sat on the ground.
That's gross.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's wild. Obviously, we kicked her out. It was,
Yeah.
you
good.
can't be doing that.
Do y'all get like different people here than you would get at, like Shangri-La in general?
We have people who come here specifically for this bar.
Yeah.
But there are obviously a lot of the Shangri-La crowd who gets curious about us.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's silly. Like we have a rule, no Shangri-La drinks down here because this is such a small space, and we have such a limited amount of people we can have through here. So financially, we need it to be like everyone who's in here is drinking our drinks. But it also is just very
Right.
confusing to me. Like, why would you go get a Shangri-La drink and then be like, I'm going to go to the other bar?
Yeah. Right.
We have a couple regulars that we like share joint custody with Shangri-La. I like to say there's like a
Okay.
couple who like definitely love Shangri-La and they go there too,
Yeah.
and then they'll come over here, and it's kind of nice because like they get the best of both worlds because they can have like a cheap beer and a shot at Shang, and then come over
Yeah,
here and get
right.
like a nice Singapore sling.
Well, you
But
can still
then-
get a beer and a shot here, right?
Very true. You can
Yes.
also do that. We're not anti beer and shot here. Definitely would never be like that, but
Yeah, very
it's
much.
kind of nice.
Yeah, very much. I was the one who brought in because initially they didn't have beer over here at all either, and I
Yeah,
feel like
right.
that makes it more of like an exclusive feeling that people can like who don't really just want a cocktail, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
So we don't have a big beer selection or anything. We have a Pilsner, an IPA, sour beer, and then like a little guy, like a
Yeah, I like the little one.
little 8-ounce beer. It's a perfect accoutrement for a nice little shot and beer situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was wondering because I came in here on like a Tuesday night or something like that, and I met those French people. I don't know if you remember, and I wondered how they found this place at all because they just come here from New Orleans, and so maybe like I think maybe the hotel concierges are telling people about y'all. You have any idea about that?
I feel like if you're kind of cool, like you just go to a bar and you get friendly with the bartenders and ask where they should go. And I've done that forever. I worked at Firehouse, which was a hostel as well as pinned between two hotels, the Omni and the Driscoll. So people come to us, and you just kind of get a read on people. They're like, we're going to see live music. You're like, I don't know, let's go to Friends around the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if they seem like they're cooler, then be like, all right, go to Hotel Vegas. Try to figure out like
right.
what they kind of want out of it. So
The
people
vibe.
who ask about cool bars to go to on the east side, like if I wanted somebody to go to my bar, like come to this bar, I would say do they seem like they're a cool, respectful human being, or are they like out to just get trashed, in which case just send them anywhere else but this bar.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in terms of like cocktails, you make all the cocktails? Like you come up with all the cocktail recipes, or is this kind of like a collaborative process?
It's a lot of them are classics to begin with, so
Sure.
it's not like I'm necessarily creating anything. I'm not out here reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
The menu will have 6 cocktails that are staff contributions. And moving forward, I would like to kind of open the floor a little more, get more input from Bonnie and Jake and Staria, and kind of get everybody more involved in the menus and
Cool.
the creative process.
Yeah.
And this last year, I really wanted to push my creativity, so every single feature that came along, so it was like Negroni Week or Bee's Knees Week or Espresso Martini Week or whatever, other bullshit the brands have come up with to try and push their product, I decided to go and make all the cocktails for that.
Okay.
And I burned myself out really badly, so I'm going to aim very much more to get more help from the homies here.
Right. And you said that you have an expanded menu coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I decided to get really ambitious and do a 36 cocktail menu like an idiot.
That's
It'll
crazy.
be fine. We'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's, kind of keeping what we have on the menu already, the classic set, and then, throwing like a tropical menu on there, and then doing the house cocktails, as well as I wanted to have a section for non-alcoholic cocktails.
Yeah.
So, that's such a big thing these days. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, ignoring dry January, I know a lot of people who have stopped drinking or like taking the drinking back a lot for a variety of reasons. Feel like a lot of people went off the edge during 2020, and this is people kind of pulling back from that, being like, wow, I didn't stop drinking like that.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that. I was trying to think about it today because we were talking the other day, like this has been like the biggest dry January like ever, right?
Yep.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
yeah, I've been doing it. I've been sticking to it until like literally just right now. So
I love being. I do enjoy being a corrupting force. So
yeah,
thank you.
Very
I appreciate
true.
that.
I probably make a mocktail at least once a shift, if not
yeah?
like if not more, but like at minimum like once a shift I'm making a mocktail.
What's your mocktail of choice?
I kind of rotate a couple, so I'll do a Virgin Saturn, which is like it's a gin passion fruit cocktail with orgeat, so it's like kind of tiki style, so it's like very good if someone wants like something fruity and nice like that. I'll do that one, and then I do like this like spicy ginger lemonade sort of situation.
Okay.
Both are pretty. I'm pretty pleased to say like most people suck them down, so I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're well enjoyed.
They do go down pretty easy.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Do you have a mocktail of choice?
I have two that I lean towards. I tend to do a jungle bird.
Yeah, the urban bird.
Yeah,
is that what you're calling it?
exactly.
That was really good. I had that the other day.
Yeah, it's the ritual rum substitute or whatever, and then Giffard makes an aperitif syrup, so that's kind of like a Campari kind of vibe to it, and then a bee's knees basically, where it's lemon honey, the ritual gin, and then rhubarb bitters, which are from Fee Brothers, which are non-alcoholic as well because they use glycerin instead of alcohol to extract the flavor.
Okay.
I'm very clever, and I call that none of y'all bees knees.
Love it.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, I like a good mocktail. Like y'all have great mocktails here, so come to Treasury if you're doing dry January still, or if you just don't drink at all. Alcohol. I mean.
Yeah, it just seems fair to like people want to be out in bars and social environments.
Yeah.
And the mocktail used to be a combination of all of your citruses and syrups in one glass, and it's not.
Right. Yeah. Like it's when there's actually some complexity and some personality there, and it's not just like sugar and fruit juice.
Exactly.
Like that's interesting, right? Otherwise, why bother?
Yeah, and there's so many brands that have come out with non-alcoholic options now that are actually very legit. It used to be just a couple kind of hanging out there, and now you see a lot of major brands, Martini and Rossi, and Bacardi, and all these other brands are putting out very legitimate, actual non-alcoholic spirits. Like people are taking it very seriously, which is great because it's like I said, a lot of people decided to not drink anymore for whatever their reason be, and that doesn't mean they don't get to be in a bar if they don't want to be.
100%. Yeah, total support for those folks. So let me back up a little bit. So, how long have y'all been in Austin? Well, we can start with you. Like, how long have you been here?
I moved to Austin 11 years ago from San Francisco.
Okay, nice. Wow.
Hilariously enough, I moved here to get away from tech bros and rising rents.
Oh. Womp womp.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. And how about you, Bonnie?
So I grew up here in Austin,
Oh,
and
cool.
I grew up in like Pflugerville area, but I definitely spent like lots of time in the city, I think, compared to my peers. And then I graduated high school, moved to Houston, lived there 9 years, and then I moved back here in July 2022.
Gotcha.
And I almost immediately started working here right after I moved, so it's pretty easy transition.
Yeah, right. Is there anything you miss about the older Austin?
I miss how easy it was to get around on the highway. I feel like when I was like a teenager, I would come down to Austin a lot, like I said, and it would take us like 25-30 minutes to get here from there. And now it takes way longer. There's so
From
much more
Pflugerville?
traffic.
Yeah.
Parking used to be free everywhere.
Oh, sure.
Now there's paid parking. I remember when I would go to Barton Springs, free parking. Now you got to pay for it. Back in my day, didn't have to pay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss I don't know. I miss like a lot of those old, like very random mom and pop stores, like Toy Joy or like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Like they closed down last year. Those were definitely like my stomping grounds, like as a teenager. So it was like very sad to see like that second. Toy Joy is still open, but like Lucy's is like closed. And
Yeah, Toy Joy is like downtown, right?
they did move. They were their original location is
campus near like Spider House.
Yeah, but I do miss those things.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
I mean, I kind of liked that Austin was just like a more laid back, lower impact kind of town. Like,
yeah.
You know, I half jokingly say I got moved here to get away from tech bros, and all that. But I liked living in a house that was affordable, and I liked having just a more laid back kind of lifestyle that Austin kind of provided. The East Side used to be a lot more kicked back, and it was less, bars that were aimed at just kind of whatever dumb drinking tourism that Austin has kind of become known for. Shang was an old school bar that I kicked it at before I even lived here, and I always really liked it. I always thought it was the East Side was just easy going, and now there's just so many more people here that you inevitably have that sensation of being around a lot more people all the time, which is kind of why I got out of an urban center for a bit,
Gotcha. Without getting too specific, what part of town do you live in now?
I live on the east side.
Okay.
I've always lived east of the freeway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I used to live kind of over by Willow and Pedernales, and now there's like Mongers is over there, and Juniper, and all these like nice restaurants, and we had like hookers when I lived there, hookers and crack, which
hookers and crack.
And then I slowly kind of moved my way a little bit further north. I live in a cool neighborhood now. I like where I live. I mean, it's a pretty heavily zoned neighborhood, so it's like a historic neighborhood, so people can't necessarily build as much of like the new Austin monstrosities. Although they definitely have done those. But it feels like a cute little neighborhood, and it feels like I know my neighbors, and we all talk and say hi when we see each other, which is kind of again part of what the charm of Austin was to me in the first place. Was,
totally.
Feeling that community connection that can be a little bit more strained or harsh when you live in a real city like San Francisco or New York, where you're more prone to kind of keep to yourself just out of a variety of reasons.
Yeah, or like LA, where you have to drive half an hour to get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was just thinking while you were talking about that, like it's been a long time since I've just hung out in somebody's backyard. Like that used to be like a big thing. Just like
backyard hangs are the best.
Backyard hangs or like porch hangs. Just crushing PBRs and like having bands over at your place. Like I know that happens still, but I don't know as many of those folks anymore.
It's kind of cool. I mean, I feel like with as almost a kind of immediate reaction to having the huge influx of people and like the rise of rents and kind of how the music thing has slowly but surely been taking a back seat to we're the music city, but we're less that that's less of a priority to our former real estate mogul mayor Steve Adler basically just sold the city out from underneath everybody. So what we kind of have now is there's a really good flourishing punk scene that's kind of killing it. A lot of punk, a lot of metal, and there's a couple of bands in particular that really stand out for it. We've got like the guys in Fuck Money who are out here doing like they're doing shows like the Tunnel, and they're doing more house shows, a lot more DIY kind of stuff. Like Little Brother was doing that stuff too, kind of help facilitating that. Totally. And I do dig that is there, and it's not as accessible. You kind of have to dig, which is also kind of cool. Like you kind of really want it to be there,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they you got like what This Is Austin, Not That Great. They have their kind of. I don't know if they're doing a fest this year. I think they said they're not actually. I don't know. I'll look at that up and put that in show notes or whatever. But yeah, it's nice that that's still around here. I did a lot of that when I was in college. I was a DJ for the UT radio station, and so I go to a lot of like punk shows, and yeah, we've had like a nice scene here. I have heard that a lot of that scene has actually moved to like San Antonio, or like their scene is like really blowing up.
San Antonio loves heavy music.
Yeah. They've always been like a cool like blue collar heavy metal town.
Yeah, definitely. It's like legendary. It's like the legend of when Slayer would play in San Antonio, that was like possibly one of the most dangerous places you could be at that point in the world. And yeah, I mean, I go to metal shows here, and like I'm old, so I stand in the back too. And rarely am I inspired enough to go get in the front and risk getting injured because I'll limp for 2 weeks where I used to just bounce back. But you go to shows in San Antonio, and man, it is fucking wild. Like they get into it. They really are about it. They love it. And it's one of the things I really appreciate, that like enthusiasm that they have for that. That here we're a little spoiled. We get a lot of shows. People get a little too cool about it, which get it.
Yeah, you have to pick your battles when it comes to moshing, especially as you get older. Like the last one I did was Hatred Surge. I definitely moshed for Hatred Surge at that Mohawk show, but like I think that night I was just like, I'm retired now. Like I've thrown my last bow. That's it for me. I don't want to. You don't want to go down necessarily in the field of battle with a bunch of like 19-year-olds.
It's so dirty moshing. Anytime I've ever like gotten into it, I like always have like dirt all over my legs or like stuff on my pants or whatever I'm wearing. I've definitely broke my glasses doing it. I've had friends who've broken their glasses. Yeah, I learned my lesson. It took me one time, and I was like, okay, I'm never wearing my glasses whenever I go out to something like this again. It is a contact-only event, right? Because I like to see.
Makes you feel alive.
It is very fun, though.
Yeah,
I do like
all sweaty.
I was gonna say,
yeah, I'm like literally. I look like I took a shower with my clothes on. I'm like covered in sweat.
Especially in Texas, most of the year.
Yeah. There's that thing about walking out of a pit with the sweat of 100 dudes on you. It's kind of got a particular funk and grossness to it.
It's an anointing of a kind.
Yeah, it's great for the skin though. Really opening your pores to be in that warm environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like being in a sauna.
All this talking about moshing makes me want to go like crowd surf or something.
We'll crowd surf you tonight during our shift.
Okay.
Just watch the fans.
That'd be great.
That'd be fun.
The only time I've crowd surfed was the first Fun Fest that I went to. It must have been like 2010 or something like that, and DRI was playing. This was in the I think it was Waterloo Park or something. Yeah. And I didn't even intend to crowd surf. Like the crowd just got so dense that I just kind of like popped up above it, and I found myself crowd surfing. That was great, but I'm like, usually like too big. Like I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna like, make everybody catch me or like jumping off like the stage. I feel like that's not fair. I'm usually trying to like prevent that person from like their neck being broken.
I'm like, all right, I got you. Like, let's go.
All right, so let's go back to Treasury actually. What were y'all doing before this?
So I just moved. I was living in Houston right before I moved to Austin, and I was working at a bar in Houston called 8 Row Flint. And I moved to 8 Row Flint.
8 Row Flint.
Yes, it's in the Heights, and they also have an Easton location.
Okay.
It's like a bourbon-focused cocktail bar.
Cool.
And then I moved here, and almost like immediately got hired here. So nice. I went from like bartending at a craft cocktail bar to bartending at another cocktail bar. I got this job actually through Instagram.
No kidding.
I haven't told many people this story, and I haven't told Aaron this. I got this job because of Aaron. Because he is in Texas Emo Club, or he runs Texas Emo Club. I followed him because I would go to that in Houston, and he would post like, oh, I'm working tonight at Treasury. And I was like, oh, I'm going to follow this random Austin bar. Like, I'm about to move there. Like, I want to check out the bar scene there. Followed Treasury, and then I saw like they made a post like, oh, we're hiring a bartender. And this was like a couple weeks before I was moving here. And I was like, okay, if this post is still up here, like whenever I'm in Austin, I was like, I'll send in my resume. And it was, and then I did. And then I came in, interviewed, and got hired like that weekend. I don't think I ever told Aaron that. I've told a couple people, but I never told him. I think it would inflate his ego too much.
Yeah. Good Lord, that boy's ego does not need any more inflating.
Exactly.
That's funny. I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's funny because Casey's the owner, the partner owner who's here, like boots on the ground.
Of Shangri-La?
Yeah, Shangri-La, Liberty Grackle.
Gotcha.
The primary owners, Tyler and Emily Van Aken, live in Puerto Rico. At this juncture, which is good for them. And like they put in the work, And Casey lives here, and he's the partner that I deal with directly. And
Gotcha.
He and I put up an ad on, I think like Poach.com or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was in the process of going through, and I was setting up interviews and all this kind of thing. And I interviewed a few people, and then one day Casey's like, "Yeah, I just hired this girl," and I was kind of like a little miffed about it. I was like, "All right, dude, well, fuck me, right?" But and then it was Bonnie, and she's awesome. So got lucky there.
Yes.
So
I definitely fell into this job. People ask, they're like, "How'd you get hired here?" They're like, "Did you work at Shang?" I'm like, No, I like randomly found this job through Instagram and like it just sort of worked out.
You should have seen Francis McGillicuddy's face over here when you were saying that. He was very shocked.
I'm a very lucky girl. I'm very happy that it's worked out the way it has.
Yeah. And how about you? What were you doing before Treasury?
So I have worked at Shangri-La since 2018.
Oh, okay.
I did the hustle game, where I did the pickup game for a long time, for most of my time.
Pickup game?
Yeah, so like I'm the pickup dude for a bunch of different bars.
Oh, okay.
At one juncture.
Not like girls and like negging and stuff.
That's creepy. No. Yeah, creepy and gross. No. I was the pickup guy, and at one point it was like something like 13 bars. So I was working at like here. And Shang was always my primary.
Okay.
I was the primary pickup person. So when people drop shifts, I'd just happily take them. But I also worked at Empire, Mohawk, 13th Floor, Cavalier.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. So I worked there in a few different capacities. And that was really fun, and I enjoyed doing that. It was very free.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't want to work, you just didn't work. But
it
has its own weird constraints too. Like people always say, how much they want to. They envied what I did. And I was like, yeah, well, good luck not trying to make plans.
Yeah.
Because
sure.
people ask you day of, and you got to make your money somehow if you're not ready for it. So
right.
That's it. And I had the something happened in 2020, and we all got unemployed.
Yeah.
And
what was that?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's a weird big blur. And then I came back and I worked at Little Brother for a couple months, and I worked at
cool.
I helped reopen King B.
Okay.
And worked there for about 8 months before I left.
Wow,
and,
all the cool spots.
Yeah, I feel like I've got a pretty decent Austin resume for sure.
Yeah.
But then I left there and I came back here because I needed to pick a person again, and then they opened this bar while I was kind of getting back into this place, and they offered me the bar manager position, and I stupidly took it.
That's awesome. So you've been here since the beginning for Treasury.
Yeah.
And what was, I guess, the conception behind it? Because I know this space had been something else at some point, right?
Right. It used to be originally it was Rhino Room, and then switched over to being a hen house.
Hen house.
Yeah. So
okay.
The Van Agons owned this building.
Huh.
So they were renting this bar out to somebody else. They used to just have the front door open, and the area people enter into our bar now used to be their crow's nest little smoking area.
Oh,
it was all fenced off.
Yeah, right.
And then when Hen House got a space downtown, they just decided it made more sense to just actually have a bar instead of collecting rent and dealing with a pain in the ass tenant. It's easier to just have a bar, make the money. I'm not exactly sure how they settled on the Treasury. Don't know much of the details on that one. It's just sort of a concept they went with, and that's the green and gold colors in here, kind of that whole vibe. And I think they did a really, really good job. The build out on this place is really pretty.
Yeah, it is. Do you have any idea who designed it or anything?
I don't know the actual architect. I know our buddy Dave, nice guy Dave, he's done a lot of the woodwork for this place. So he built like the shelves and almost everything that we use. That's a functional thing. Dave has helped to install. Along with Tyler and Johnny and Casey all put in a lot of time to physically working in here too.
Yeah. Who brought in the golden skull?
That was something I found for Halloween last year, and just decided,
Yeah.
Managed to keep a few of the little pieces of pop-ups we had kind of throughout,
Yeah, I love the Suntory whiskey signs. Yeah. The gold skull ties it all together.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Funny Skull over there. Have you given the skull a name?
No.
Okay, me either.
Funny Skull.
Funny Skull.
I like Funny Skull. Do y'all advertise much Treasury, or do you prefer it to be more of a discovery? I should have asked this earlier.
All we have is an Instagram page.
Right.
You can't. Good luck Googling the Treasury.
Yeah.
You're never going to get to this page. That way, you will find every treasury in every state and country before you get to us.
Sure.
We try to do some stuff to make it known that we exist. Obviously, trying to rotate in and out a crowd of people, because we have the weekend crowds that are kind of built in.
Right.
And so we have some pretty solid regulars. A lot of people do come down here to see Bonnie and Jake, and occasionally me too, apparently. But it's tricky. It's like trying to be low key without yelling to the world that we're here, and just using word of mouth.
Yeah.
It seems to work for a lot of other places. Here nor there is always busy.
Yeah, sure. You have to have an app to get in there, don't you?
They used to have it on LinkedIn, which I thought was the most white collar, snobby, exclusive bullshit, to really just be like, I mean, I don't know a single industry person that has a fucking LinkedIn, you know?
Yeah.
But
bartender.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we haven't done much in the way of like advertising, and hasn't been much conversation about it either. It's like we're moving steadily along. We're putting up numbers that seem to keep everyone happy. I mean, I would like us to be, you know, a little bit busier, obviously, always, but
sure,
doesn't seem necessary.
Yeah,
we usually have a line almost every Friday, like on Friday, Saturday nights. There's almost always a line, and I feel like that's a pretty good signal of business. We've had a couple of like influencer people, foodies, whatever you want to call them, come in and like, you know, do a little thing like, oh, I went and had drinks at the Treasury, and they'll like this is how you come in, and then they'll, you know, do a thing. I think like ATX Drinker gave us a thing, and we went on a couple other ones. I think like Austin Food. I can never remember their names. Like Instagram
I follow
people,
those
handles,
people.
but I've seen a couple of them. I've been in a couple of the background of them.
Oh,
like,
really?
I think in like I've seen like 2 or 3. I'm always in the background of them. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I've had like 2 come in, and I declined to be in their videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I feel very special now. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I like you.
Thanks. Do you, y'all don't ever pay any of those people, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Because I wonder how they make their day to day. You know.
I think
who
some
do that
places do
full-time.
pay
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
We definitely didn't. I'm pretty sure we charged them full price too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
They're fine. They can do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like y'all run a good line because, you know, a lot of places like this can be totally pretentious, and you know, like that's not a vibe that I'm ever really interested in, right? Like, and you know, pretension usually comes with the price tag, and it's just like, why am I paying for, you know, like a shitty vibe? But y'all managed to kind of walk this line between like exclusivity and inclusivity, I guess. You know, like you have like, it's still like a cool place to hang out. You know, it's like, it's not exactly a dive, right? Because you have like, there's some class here, but it's also not. You know, you don't agree?
I agree. We
totally.
have nice bathrooms. You can't be a dive bar with
Those
nice
are.
bathrooms.
Yeah. That's a
the
great point.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I would have put that on my list of criteria. We have a running question is and we asked Cavalier like what goes into making a good dive, right? And I'm like, okay, you have to have a long bar that people sit at. I think that's important for a dive. Shitty bathrooms is something that we should put on that list for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the, you know, the cocktail scene has gone through so many iterations that's kind of like the normal progression. You start off and it's kind of like, it feels exclusive at first, you know, people who are a little more, you know, it's like doing something, breaking some new ground. So it's not for everyone in your community, and you kind of fight this battle. So that makes this natural kind of pretension grow on the bar side of things, because when people are coming into your bar and getting pissed off at you because you don't have a Coors Light, then you start being like, you know what, fuck you, and just get kind of stick it back to people.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the next step is to kind of, it becomes more normalized and people really get used to it and they're less, you know, intimidated by it and stop calling your, you know, craft bartenders shitty things for no good reason other than they know stuff about booze. And then it flips into a thing where, like, at this point, it seems like, well, there's certainly obviously having nice cocktail bars is very much a part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I think you see a lot more of like the dive craft, where it's kind of like a craft cocktail bar with a little bit more of a dive bar attitude about it.
Okay.
So it's like
right.
kind of, you know, and there's a lot of bars that kind of that straddle that line, and I think those are some of my favorites, and it allows
that's a
you
perfect
to
way to describe us.
Yeah,
Dive craft.
totally. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
idea that, like, you know, come in here and have a good time and don't worry about everything being like too over the top, you know, like if you want a great drink, then like totally glad to make that for you, and, you know, happy to provide a shot and beer thing too.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a bar, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like a lot of dive bars, like the appeal, like, yeah, it's cheap and chill and whatever, but like also any dive bar I've ever been to, like I usually like am going because I want to go hang out with the bartender too, like maybe they're my
Totally.
friend,
Right.
or, you know, we can just catch up and they're like just fun to be around, or they provide good service, you know. I feel like we kind of do that here. Like we try to be very personable behind the bar for the most part, especially if you're sitting at the bar, you know.
Yeah.
Try and like chit chat. I have so many bar conversations all throughout my shift.
Sure. I
Um,
love coming out, hanging out, and
but-
talking.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of how like you sort of started coming around here, because you came in and we sort of just started chit chatting.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember you got a Sazerac and you're like, "This is a good Sazerac." Like, I'm from Louisiana, so like, like, this is my go-to drink. So.
Yeah, you make a good Sazerac here for sure. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask about that. Like, I mean, why Sazerac? You don't see that everywhere, right? Like, it is a very New Orleans drink. Most people would just have like an old fashioned. Is there any kind of special reasoning that went into that? Any kind of specific taste preference around how you make your Sazeracs?
Initially, it was just a matter that we were batching the whiskey and the sugar and the simple syrup in the same keg.
Okay.
So, for the exact same set of ingredients, all you have to do is change your bitters and your format, up or on the rocks kind of thing. So one spout or one draft can provide, 2 cocktails.
Okay.
And I mean, I definitely I prefer Sazeracs generally over old fashions. I like them both. And there's guidelines on how all these cocktails are supposed to be made.
Right.
But I understand we all have like our own personal isms about how we do things. So instead of being like a fascist and being like, you have to do it this way. I mean, I built my Sazerac by watching Chris Hanna from formerly of French 75 in New Orleans.
Okay.
He is like Mr. Cocktail in New Orleans. He's
Gotcha.
like the quintessential dude, and he owns a place now that I'm completely brain farting the name.
In New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's great. It's on the western end of the quarter, kind of like closer to the park.
Cool. I'll put that in my notes.
It's a great bar, and I will remember the name. But I watched how he made a Sazerac, and I was like, okay, that is how I'll make my Sazerac. Because if Mr. fucking New Orleans cocktail guy is doing that, then that's how I want to do it. So
it's a great sipping drink. Like when you get an old fashioned, like a lot of places, maybe most places now, you get like a giant ice cube versus like when you get a Sazerac, you're like, this is not like a very, it's not a lot of liquid here, but it lasts a lot longer than you might think that it would. It's probably like the most unassuming cocktail that you get out there, right? Like most of them have I would say like a lot more visual volume, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just 2 ounces of booze and a scant half of simple syrup, some bitter stone in there, so it doesn't look like a lot necessarily. You've got like a Manhattan that's like a full 3 ounce cocktail that's then diluted to fill a coupe. And like I said, visually it looks like less than an old fashioned, even though it is the exact same amount of booze.
Right.
But but definitely has that. It's more. It's a little more of a kick to it because it is. It doesn't have the ice diluted, so it's just kind of how it gets to you is how it's going to be.
Yeah. What has been the hardest day on the job so far for y'all? If you could pick one.
Yeah, last Memorial Day.
That's nice and specific.
Oh yeah. No, that was a shit from hell, man. I am so thankful that I remembered to call Gracie to ask if she could come in and bar back for me. Because from the moment that I opened to the moment that we closed, I was at capacity.
Wow.
It was just me.
Would you have like a special or something that day?
No, it's just a national holiday, so everybody had Monday off, so it was an extra weekend day, and I got my shit kicked in. Possibly one of the hardest shifts I've ever had to go and do in my life.
Wow, Jesus.
And I did it, and I did the hell out of it, because it's that thing with, I feel like, if you're good at the thing that you do, it's your specialty, whatever, when you get put under a lot of pressure, you step up and you really perform.
Yeah.
And it's a good feeling. I love that I can, fly through a shift and, really, kill it like that, but it was brutal.
Yeah.
That was rough.
When you get off a shift like that, do you immediately go to sleep, or do you have to go somewhere and unwind?
Oh, I have to go unwind.
Yeah.
It is very difficult for me to just get out of work and just go. I need to go and chill, either go to another bar, have a drink, or just go home and stare into the void or whatever I need to do.
Just sit in a chair in the dark like Batman.
That was one of those ones where I definitely stared into the void for a little bit after that, and I think the void flinched because I was so fucked up, so pissed off.
I think mine's a similar story. I remember the Sunday before Juneteenth was also a crazy busy shift for me. I think I don't even know if I had a bar back that night, but I remember I got annihilated. But everybody I was dealing, all my customers were super cool and very chill, and they saw that I was working alone, and I was busting my ass, and I like Antonio said, I was I stepped up, I was rocking and rolling. Like I got the shit done, but it was definitely like very hard. But I would say like what's harder, like working hard to me, like is it difficult? Like I'm very used to like working high volume craft cocktail sort of stuff. Like I used to work like with the service well at a busy bar, so like I can like pound out drinks pretty quickly. But like I would say like what's harder for me is when people are acting up and you have to ask them to leave.
Yeah.
Or cutting people off. I hate cutting people off. It sucks. But like asking people to leave, or not asking, telling them to leave.
Right.
That is always like my least favorite thing to do. And usually people are like cool about it. Not even. They usually put up a little bit of fuss, and you have to be like, yeah, no, you need to go. But sometimes they like really put up a fuss, and I'm like, oh my God, don't make me like, why are you being like this? Baton. Like you're so drunk, like you need to go. I'm like, it's time for the Uber home.
What's the worst behavior that you've seen here?
I had this guy who couldn't pay his tab. Like his card kept declining. And then he's like, let me pay my phone. And then we don't have tap to pay. And he like couldn't accept that. And I was like, okay, it's time for you to go. I had to like, I went over to this back. This door is kind of nice though. If you do need to kick someone out, you could just be like,
a push door.
Here you go. The door's right here. I had these people falling asleep in the corner once.
Oh, yeah, you can't
that one was actually like, that guy was kind of rude to me behind the bar. So whenever I saw him and his date like nodding off, I was like, I will happily tell you to leave. It's kind of a mean bartender moment, I will say, but they were like, it was very funny. I like went over there and I just like slammed my hands on the table. I was like, hey, wake up. You need to get out. Like, you can't sleep here. And they were like totally startled. But it was kind of funny. But I was like, that's what you get for being rude to me.
Yeah.
If he was cool, I would have been like, hey, dude, you can't sleep here. Like, and also y'all should probably go.
Is there
I'm sorry, go ahead. He was rude, so I'm going to be rude to him.
Yeah, right. Is there because I know, like, not from experience, but like, you're not supposed to fall asleep in a bar. Is there like a law against it, or is it mostly just like this guy's too drunk and we're going to be in trouble?
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a legality because it implies the person is too drunk.
Yeah.
So
right.
they
that
can't,
makes sense.
Yeah, so you have to be conscious while you're in the bar.
Yeah.
Which
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be visibly drunk at a bar.
Right.
That's like the law, the rules.
Some people are really, really good at masking it. I've learned over my years.
Like, I definitely don't know anybody like that.
Definitely not. Definitely not me.
Not me at all.
Definitely have not gotten way too drunk because nobody could tell I was drunk. Definitely not.
What's the worst behavior you've seen here?
I mean, it's in this bar in particular, or just as a bartender.
Yeah, we could do either one.
I mean, it kind of varies. I mean, people pissing in inappropriate places is annoying as shit. I've definitely had somebody fucking throw a bottle at me before. I mean, people just being rude as fuck. I mean, the guy who threw a bottle at me actually spat on me too, quite a few times, which is
that's assault.
Yeah,
right?
On multiple levels.
Yeah.
And it just happened so fast I didn't even get angry. I just kind of was saying like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
because it just came out of.
That's how it happens sometimes.
Yeah, he was just wasted. And he's creeping on some girl, and I told him to leave her alone, and he just immediately like. There's normally when these things are going to happen in a bar, like a confrontation, there's the ramping stage where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Where like you're trying to de-escalate the situation always, but sometimes you can just see that this person's agitated and they want to fight, and I'm like, hey man, I'm not trying to fight you, but you got to go, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's this build up to it where you get your adrenaline up and ready, and they do too. It's one of the stages of fighting, but that just happened without that at all. So my adrenaline never even hit, and the rest of the staff just triangulated and got him out the door.
Yeah.
And I was just standing there like, that dude spat on me. That's gross. And I finally had to go, be like, hey man, I don't want to talk to the cops, but I will absolutely.
Sure.
If you don't leave right now. Because he's out front trying to fight, my bar back and my door guy who were just like, dude, just leave.
Yeah. What is something that other cocktail bars do that you would never do here because you can't stand it?
Lighting stuff on fire, or maybe like flare bartending.
Flare bartending? Oh,
like I call them flare
Coyote
bears.
Ugly or something?
Okay, Coyote Ugly is kind of fun because they dance at the bar and they're like very cute girls. But like flare bartending, like whenever they're like flipping the bottle upside down, they're like pouring it behind their back. Like it's kind of cool, but also I'm like, dude, hurry up. Like come on.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely lean on the flair thing. I mean, I've seen some really incredibly talented flair bartenders.
Right.
You know, it is a skill set, but like, you know, I came to get a drink, not a fucking juggling act.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the thing that a bar would do, and that's just, you know, part of what they do. But I mean, like, I don't know. Did you ever go to Nightingale Room in Houston, in downtown?
Maybe.
It was right next door to Pastry War. It was Bobby Hugel's like nightclub thing.
Oh yes, I did go there.
JoJo was bartending there, and she's a flair bartender, and she's very talented. But it's funny because I walk in, and you know, there's this huge crowd around the corner watching her do her thing, and she's got like, you know, 13 tins stacked up, and she's like making this huge thing, and everyone's watching, and it's like, oh, so cool. Meanwhile, I go around the crowd and I go to the back room. My buddy Matt Delaney's working, and I got a drink immediately.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, but also like, not to toot my own horn, but I think whenever I'm just working in general, especially because we make multiple drinks at a time here, I think that alone is impressive enough to people. The amount of people that tell me they're like, I love watching you work, like it's like ASMR or whatever, and I'm like, you know what, that's very true, because whenever I go to a cocktail bar, I also do that. I'm like, oh, neat. Like, I don't know why. It's like, it's so entertaining to watch.
Yeah. I should just have like a recording of y'all just like for like 3 hours for people to like fall asleep to on YouTube or something like that. All right.
Because I was gonna say, like, that's definitely like that shift that I worked where I get my butt kicked in. And, like, every time I have one of those shifts, and you go into a zone and it's not flair, but I do have little things like I slide drinks to people, and I have like little things that are just economy of motion that look kind of flair-ish, but that just comes in naturally when you're really in it like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question in our first segment. You're really into heavy metal. I'm really into heavy metal. Bonnie, do you like heavy metal?
She does
sorta.
not. I terrorize her with.
Okay.
I don't dislike it. I wouldn't say I like it.
Okay. Like, if you had to just
I don't
listen
know.
to
It's not, okay. I will listen
that's not a
to
ringing
it.
endorsement.
Okay, I will hear it. I'll like listen to it. I'm not gonna like turn it off. Maybe if it's a little too loud, but like I don't know. I couldn't tell you a heavy metal band.
Okay. All right.
Like
Slayer? Is Slayer a heavy metal band?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can't nail Slayer.
Kind of one of the most quintessential ones. So yeah.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Okay, if you could only listen to one metal genre forever for the rest of time, what would it be?
One specific metal genre?
One genre, and you can be broad, right?
Sure. I mean, I'd probably lean towards like thrash.
Cool.
That's you know, I mean, there's a lot of crossover in that. You know, you get your thrash punk kind of stuff. You know, your suicidal tendencies and your DRIs and your
totally.
You know,
thrash I think is the most bar friendly metal genre. Maybe sludge or doom metal,
sure.
You know, for like, you know, jukebox kind of place. But thrash is just like I don't know. That's a good time. Like it was. So they have Metal Mondays here at Treasury, by the way, and that was also perfect. You know, the new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah,
that was great. So Bonnie, do you have an answer to this question at all? Do you have any?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. For me, it would probably be death metal. Death metal is like, it's got a lot of just everything that I like. And there's enough like kind of crossover in there. You can listen to more thrashy death metal, like old school Sepultura.
Sure.
And then you know, more grinding kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my answer to that question.
Nice.
All right. So this next segment is the questions out of a hat segment. I actually forgot my hat, so it's just gonna be questions out of a bag. But if y'all are down, I'd like to just do another shot, and then we can get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. What's the Serbian word for cheers?
It is Živali.
Živali?
Živali.
Živali.
It's also Nostrovia.
Right. Yeah.
It's like Russian, I think.
All right, this is the questions out of a hat, questions out of a bag segment. Okay, what's the most disgusting drink that's still good?
Long Island iced teas.
No, you don't think so? It's just disgusting.
I mean, I actually have a hilariously fucking dumb history with that cocktail.
Oh, yeah?
I'll call it that, yeah. I got interviewed, or I got at something by, it's like BuzzFeed or one of those kind of things, and they asked a bunch of bartenders to do a written submission of, and I got asked to do a lot of these things because I just say things pretty outright that people are like, that's not very nice. I'm like, I don't fucking care. And I called out the Long Island for being one of the worst drinks that exist. Because just, I get it, you want to get fucking hammered, but like I just don't want to see the end result of that. You know?
Right.
I think my answer is probably the amaretto sour.
Amaretto sour.
Amaretto sour. I
Yeah.
really do not like amaretto, and I mean I have a bottle of it on hand because again it's like I don't care if that's what you like. I'll happily make it a drink, and I've done my best to dial it in to make it a proper cocktail, but I just cannot stand it.
But that's disgusting, but still good.
So like
Long
a guilty
Island's aren't even
guilty
that
pleasure
strong.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, grasshopper.
What is grasshopper?
Grasshopper is like a blended drink that's creme de menthe. It's like creme de chocolat, I think, too. Creme de cacao, and so it's kind of like a boozy milkshake sort of thing.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
I love
Oh, I
that.
also like White Russians.
Oh, I love White Russians.
But like milk and alcohol,
Yeah.
like that's gross.
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah.
We had a holiday party at a friend's house. It was like make your own cocktail, and I thought there was gonna be more vodka there, and there wasn't. So I ended up using tequila, and just like I think the trick there. I mean, first of all, it's not great. But second of all, it's better. You have to use a little bit less tequila than you would use vodka. So we're just having white Mexicans instead.
I feel like that could maybe be kind of good if you did like, maybe you did like a reposado tequila.
And maybe like horchata.
Yeah.
Horchata would be great. Yeah.
Or something.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
I've actually made a cocktail like that before, so.
That sounds good.
All right, bottles or cans?
Can.
Can.
Can?
Yeah.
Can of anything in particular, by the way?
Modelo.
I like
Cool.
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite? All right. I don't know if this is... what the fuck is umami?
It is another flavor profile that hits up the kind of center forward part of your tongue. It is a sort of a salty, savory flavor.
Okay.
It's like soy sauce, fish sauce.
But it's not
mushrooms.
necessarily just salty, savory, because that's its own kind of flavor profile, isn't it?
Well, salty is, and as is sour and sweet, but umami is kind of a little more elusive to describe necessarily. But yeah, it is more, it's much more present in more like Asian cuisines. You get these kind of sesame kind of has that same thing to it where it's not necessarily, because that's not necessarily salty, right? It's as much as it just has a very unique flavor that is savory, kind of dry, has some sort of a like sweetness hanging out in the background there too.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good answer. Pick 3 spots for your ideal Friday night.
My couch. Actually, yes, that is one of my answers. My couch with
Your couch.
couch with a bottle of scotch and a cat and a horror movie. Small Victory, because that is absolutely one of my favorite.
Great spot.
One of my favorite bars in Austin,
Yeah.
hands down. If I ever crave a cocktail, which is fairly uncommon, but it is always the place that comes to my mind of like where I want to go if I want to get a drink.
Great bartenders.
Great like,
charcuterie.
Killer staff. Yeah, the charcuterie board
Killer.
kills it, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably this bar. I like hanging out here.
Yeah, me
Couch.
too.
Small Victory. Treasury.
Yeah.
How about you, Bonnie?
I work Friday nights, so if I'm off on a Friday night, I'm like off doing something or I'm out of town. But
You could do Saturday.
if I
right?
was, so like Friday night I'm in Austin off work, I would do like Happy Hour at Pache. I love their
Pache?
Pache. It's
That's
on
like
4th
French
Street.
kind of New Orleans kind of place.
They're great. Their happy hour is
Still
amazing.
haven't been there.
They have food and drinks. Oh, you should definitely go.
Yeah.
Food and drinks, and then second spot is like somewhere that a friend of mine is working. You know, I'll like check
Okay,
out
yeah,
Instagram,
right.
see like who's checking in on Friday, where they're working, pop in there, hang out with them, have a shot. So like maybe like just Shangri-La, honestly, or like King B maybe,
Cool.
or Lowdown, and then go dance at either, I'm choosing 4 places, at either Barbarella's or
Perfect.
Outer Heaven Disco Club.
Nice.
Or both, if I'm feeling crazy.
I've done that.
Me too.
What is your favorite dive bar?
I mean, Traditionally, my answer is going to be Violet Crown for sure.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's kind of a, it's where all of us go. If you do a swing shift over, at Shangri-La, or this place closes at midnight, and if you get out, that's pretty often where we'll all kind of congregate.
Yeah.
It does fall prey to being on this street.
Sure.
So I've been in there and seen pub crawls roll through there, and just your mood is ruined pretty quickly. So for all of that, I really enjoy the Aristocrat too. That's further up north.
Aristocrat.
Up on Burnett.
That one.
Yeah, good. That's kind of the thing. It's like every time that I've hung out there, I've at some point or another observed. You know what I have not heard here once? Somebody yelling, "Woo!"
Very nice.
So that's an actual legit dive bar,
I like Lowdown for a dive bar. I don't know
Yeah.
if they count as. I think they count as a dive bar.
It's got a divey vibe to
Yeah,
it for
it's
sure.
like divey vibe.
Divey
I don't know.
vibey.
I like their selection of booze. I can get a twisted tea. I can usually get a Yubiga. Pretty
Okay,
cool.
nice.
I like their whiskey with a pickleback. Their pickle juice is like really good. I also kind of like Sidebar. I don't know. It's
Where's
chill.
Sidebar again?
It's off of Red River, and I think it's on
It's
Seventh.
Oh,
seven
yeah,
Red
yeah.
River. It's like right next to
River.
Empire.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they have free pool. So
Oh.
their pool tables
that's dope.
are not amazing, but they're free. So who cares?
Nice.
That is notoriously a blackout bar.
Very true. It's also hella cheap. That's like the key to a dive bar is like it needs to be cheap.
That helps it be a blackout bar as well. I'm
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
absolutely.
true.
What's your favorite breakfast taco?
Migas from Veracruz.
I like
Solid,
Dan's.
tight.
Yeah.
I usually get I do bacon, egg, and cheese.
From where?
I like Dan's.
Dan's?
Mm-hmm.
Like the hamburger place.
Yeah.
Really?
Interesting.
Learn a new
Well,
thing
you
every
can
day.
call. I like how you can call in an order, and then I can go pick it up through the drive-through, or like go in and get it.
That's
Right.
a very
I don't know,
Austin answer.
It's very convenient. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just like also nostalgic.
I love that.
It was Dan's is like down the street from my sister's place, and so anytime we would go do anything early-ish in the day, we would get Dan's tacos before.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Is there a single good doctor in town?
I don't know.
Dr. Octagon.
Dr. Octagon.
Couldn't answer that.
what is healthcare?
Yeah.
Dude, we are bartenders, man. I get sick and I just drink through it and hope that it goes away. Fuck.
It's medicine. It's all
Very
medicine.
true.
Actually, okay, so I do have sort of an answer for that. There is a guy, and I'm totally brain farting his name. He has a clinic that is down the street. It's on that same complex that right next to Liberty.
Okay.
And he basically has a payment plan where you do something like, I think it's like $75 a month.
Huh.
And you basically, that's like kind of your health care with him.
Interesting.
So you can go to him, and he's like, and he's cool. I met him because he used to come to 13th floor when I bartended there.
Cool.
And that's how I met him. And I was like, oh, you're a doctor? That's fucking cool. And he
Yeah.
has a lot of service industry clientele. And I should also remember his name because it's a cool thing that he does. Like, he actually cares about people. you
Nice.
know? Yeah.
Cool. Mystery dive doctor.
Yeah. Whenever you figure out his name, let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do.
What is your hangover cure?
Man. I think I was just saying this one. Went to a recent good repair. One was going to Kelly's and getting an Irish coffee,
Yeah.
then having a Guinness and shepherd's pie.
It's tasty.
Sounds good.
Definitely.
Mine's a can of Coke and a big bowl of pho.
Nice. There's a little Texas in there, and then a little bit of Austin. The can of Coke, I feel like, is a very
to be a
Texas
can.
remedy.
Yeah, it has to be a can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Cowboys or Saints? If you care.
I don't care.
Don't watch football.
All right. Hey, fair. Meh. They're not all good.
Was that another football question?
No, it's just we've kind of talked about that a little bit. Were we unfair to Creed?
I think they've had a resurgence.
Yeah.
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 I certainly have heard them a lot more in the recent past than I have in a long
Right.
time. I don't know that we were as unfair to Creed as we were to Nickelback, because they get the ire of
course.
like some serious hate. And
Yeah.
I think Brian Posehn said it best when he said that we should be thankful for their existence because they make a bunch of bros happy instead of angry. So kind of doing a service to the world there.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, and this is true, my friend's band recorded an album in LA at a place called NRG Studios, which when you walk in the front hallway down to the studio is just all gold records, and it's like No Doubt, Incubus,
cool.
Hootie and the Blowfish. I mean, they've done a
Yeah.
ton of really big records when come out of that studio. Sugar Ray was recording at the Studio A while my boyfriends were in Studio B, but the gold record that is over the toilet is Creed.
Huh.
Yep.
Wow. Do you like Steely Dan?
Fuck no.
Yeah,
Fuck no.
I do.
Yeah.
I like that kind of music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been like really into that music lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I love some yacht rock. We can definitely yacht rock the fuck tonight.
I've been
Not
playing
Steely Dan.
my
Not
song.
Steely Dan. I threatened to fire somebody over playing Steely Dan at Firehouse.
You don't want someone to do your
Wow.
dirty work for you. Song is iconic. It
So-
plays on my radio a lot.
It is.
What's the yacht rock that you do like? You like Michael McDonald?
I'm pretty classic.
Like,
Give me the Hall
Hall
Notes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know there's like that 80s kind of crossover stuff. I don't know if like Tears for Fears counts as yacht rock or not, but
I wouldn't say so.
yeah, okay. But yeah, I mean, we played a lot of yacht rock at when I worked at Firehouse,
Okay.
which really skewered we were using my Spotify account for a long time there, and that really skewered my algorithm.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Christopher Cross.
yeah, exactly. All
Okay.
the kind of cornerstone classics. and
Wow,
that
but
stuff.
not Steely Dan. That's interesting.
I don't know what it is about them that irks me so much, but
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe it's the dark, sarcastic lyrics.
that's theoretically I should be into it because of that.
Yeah.
Being that it's kind of
They're too smooth.
right. Yeah.
Okay. How much should I drink?
Water. Lots of it.
Today?
No. Like alcohol. Yeah. How much alcohol should I drink?
I don't know. Kind of depends on what kind of night you're trying to have.
Hmm.
I think you should follow that T-Pain song. It's like, we got the drinks for the bartender. We drank them. I'm drunk. Maybe we'll do that.
It's a good rule of thumb.
I mean, hopefully, don't drink yourself to a blackout.
Yeah.
It's
hard to black out for me. I'm kind of a big dude, and I just it's really hard for me to get there. I'm much more of like a. I think I was talking to Jake about this not that long ago, like. Or maybe it was you, I don't remember, but like there's a point at which like something goes off in my head. It was like the night is over, go home.
Yeah. You and I were talking about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The
yeah.
drunken
self-control
autopilot.
even whenever you're drunk, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's not a bad
what's that like?
thing to have.
Right. I'm not gonna say
I don't have a lot of
do.
great stories. I'll say that.
I don't always have that, but certainly my drunken autopilot, in which my body just goes, "Hey, dude, time to go."
Yeah.
And gets me home. And I've been doing that for a very
Just
long time.
Irish goodbye.
Yep,
Yeah.
just
Very
ghosting the bar,
true.
And I was saying, we're talking about saying I used to do that a lot in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that was, in my 20s where I just definitely partied way harder. And like,
Yeah.
Yeah, here it's less so, but I've definitely.
I say like
Definitely
pace
done that.
yourself.
If you're stoned in HEB, what do you grab?
Oh God.
What?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
A good chance of getting some cheese.
Mm.
Let's get some cheese.
Maybe like a rotisserie chicken and like one of those ready-made meals. They have a bunch of like really cool dips.
Oh yeah.
You just
yeah,
like
for
stick
sure.
in the oven.
Yeah,
They come
they've
out really
stepped up
good.
their game on the ready-made meals.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a lot of that is stoner food.
Oh,
like
yeah.
HEB knows their audience, I think. Yeah.
I mean,
Nobody does it better. Very true.
Meh. Let's see. Okay. Eating, breathing, and sleeping. If you had to choose one that you no longer needed to do, but you could if you wanted to, but you didn't need to, right? Which would you choose?
breathing.
Yeah, I would say breathing. I like to eat. And I
Yeah.
also like to sleep. But
Well,
breathing would be
But
cool
you
to
could
not
do
have
it
to
anyway.
do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it'd be cool because I could like go underwater. and
I
not
feel the
have to
same way.
breathe.
Or you'd be more likely to survive a fire.
Yeah,
Right?
that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, unless we're discussing the idea of the olfactory sense, I mean, I don't feel like breathing's contributing a lot to my daily enjoyment. We do it out of
Yeah.
necessity, not out of fun.
Right.
And I love sleeping, I love eating. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Those things are very fun for me.
That logic holds for me as well. All right, let's see. Is pickleball lame?
I've never played pickleball. I'm not very sportsy. Everybody talk. It's like tennis, kind of, right?
It's a little bit like tennis, but like slower and sillier.
Slower and sillier.
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
I
don't know.
I know tennis people that are so angry at pickleball, and I didn't really understand it until I went out there and I saw like you're playing with a wiffle ball, and so I was like, oh, I get it now, because wiffle ball is not like a, kind of very slowly goes through the air, right? Compared to a tennis ball.
I think like it's getting a lot more people active.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun. Like I'm not very sporty, but I think it's fun to see like other people my age like finding enjoyment in a thing that is like giving them physical fitness.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I try not to be a hater.
Yeah.
Am I sometimes? Yes. But I also have never played it, so I feel like that's disrespectful for me to hate on it if I've never even like actually tried it.
It's a very reasonable answer. Do you have anything that could increase our engagement, Antonio?
Upon hearing about it, the first thing, kind of learning what it was, the first thing that popped in my head was white people.
Why is it called pickleball?
That'll do it.
Why is it called that?
Actually, I know the answer to this. It's because the people who invented its dog's name was Pickle.
Okay, that's really cute. I support that. Although it would make more sense if it was called wiffle ball.
Well, that's
or
a
just
different
wiffle.
thing, isn't it? That's like
I don't know.
It's baseball with a wiffle ball.
Oh.
Wiffle ball's been around for a while.
I don't know.
I mean, the temptation to sit here and make fun of pickleball is certainly very high, more than anything else, just to take a shot at Casey, because I know he's in the process of getting his pickleball line up and running. Which, good on him, man. That's cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I know he's working with, like, independent artists for the stuff he's doing, too, so that's cool. But,
the paddles he does, those are really cool.
And I really appreciate your beautifully diplomatic answer and how, kind of giving people the chance to kind of just do what they want without being a hater, whereas I just get irrationally angry about weird shit like that.
Yeah. Well, listen, that gives us the clicks, and so that's great. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Tight.
Yours is the morally correct answer.
Right.
Yours is the one that gives us the eyeballs.
Yeah. I think I said somewhere in like the chaotic neutral territory, so my brain clicks in all directions like that.
That's great. What's the biggest animal you think you could take on in hand-to-hand combat?
I saw a bear once in person. So
You saw a bear.
I saw a bear. I was like in close proximity to a bear.
Oh fuck!
So I think that
your first
they didn't
thought
attack
was
me or
like,
anything, but I was like, okay. So I'm gonna say like
I don't see what the big deal is.
I'm gonna say like a brown bear specifically because
a grizzly bear.
A brown bear? No, not a grizzly bear. A brown bear. They're different things.
Those were.
They're different
black
things.
bears are the smaller ones, right? I
Oh.
thought brown bears are grizzly bears.
I thought
Grizzly bears are the
I
ones
thought
that'll tear
they're
you
two
up.
different things.
I think
Maybe
black
I saw
bears
a
are the
black
smaller
bear.
ones. Yeah.
Okay, because it was very small. Okay, I'm gonna say a black bear then.
You
It's
fuck up a
still
black
big.
bear.
Yeah, because I've done it before.
Okay.
And by done it before, I mean I walked by it very calmly.
Yeah.
It didn't care. It was eating some
You just kind of
berries.
laughed to yourself, like that's it.
I was a little scared.
All right, Winnie the Pooh.
But it was fine. Yeah, it didn't care about us at all.
Okay. What do you think, Antonio?
Oh man, I don't want to fight the animals, dude. I want to give them all hugs.
But what if the animal was like drunk and belligerent?
Are we talking about one of my shifts here?
I mean, say you're bartending in a zoo, and what's the animal you're like? You know what? I could bounce this one versus the one that you have to call like the elephant for.
David Schwimmer as the giraffe in Madagascar. I could kick that thing's ass.
Oh my god, for sure. I will say one thing about kicking ass. That like I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of people in the service industry have a lot of pent up rage and energy.
Yeah.
And if you fuck around, you will find out.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people in the service industry, especially in Austin, will beat your ass if you are acting crazy. So like,
Okay. Yeah.
if you feel
I
like
believe
getting
it. I've
in a
heard some
fight with
stories.
someone and losing,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think more people should. Obviously, like drunk people are gonna be drunk people, but like,
Yeah.
maybe try to think before you start a fight
Right.
with the bartender
Yeah,
because
Right.
they don't care and they will beat you up and they will have teammates to help them.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Even if you're a black bear.
Yeah.
I did love that at Firehouse. I found out that the hostel desk did a bracket on all the bartenders and all the bar staff. to see who they thought would win in like a bracket system, and I came out on top. And I asked them why, because I'm like a fucking gangly dude, and they were like, "You got a lot of anger, dude." It's a fair
You got
point.
the more juice.
Yeah. Anger
Wow.
is anger is a fucking weapon, man. So
Sure. All right, we're still going. Good. All right, this is the last question. What is the secret to romantic love?
Couldn't answer that.
What is necessary for romantic love?
Okay, actually, let me think.
really big penis.
Maybe just like being there for your person that you're romantically in love with. You know, I think like when you know, like it sounds very like stereotypical, but like, you know, if you're like thinking about them all the time, I think maybe reciprocating and like,
like attention.
I think maybe not romantic love, but I think the key to love is just like, reaching out and like checking in with people, I guess. Because I don't really like I wouldn't say my romantic love life is very strong, but my love life is great. I have lots of love for my friends and family, and it's because like we check in on each other. And what I like to do is if I think of someone, if I haven't talked to them in a while, I'll be like, I'm thinking about that person randomly. I'll like text them and be like, I was thinking about you. Like, I hope you're doing good. I think that's all that matters, and I think more people should do that because it's very nice to receive those texts.
Checking in and attention.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say empathy, because if you really want to understand somebody and you want to truly respect them and kind of pay them the attention and care that they deserve, then you have to have empathy for that. It means kind of getting outside of your own space and outside of your own head. And I know I can definitely be terrible about that myself. But it's really important. That's really where you get a connection with somebody, is that empathy to understand them a bit more. Which means there's a lot that goes into it. It means listening to them and trying to comprehend the parts of their lives that are dissimilar to your own, that makes them be who they are versus somebody else, whatever. And you kind of just have to. You don't even necessarily need to understand it as much as just kind of find a way to put it in a context of them as a human, and that way you can be, like I said, just more respectful to them and their life and their struggles and their personality.
I love that answer. That's great. Well, thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Bonnie. This has been a lot of fun. This is the Treasury, the third episode of Bon Temps Club, and that's it. We'll see you next time. I'm sure I'm going to add something of like and subscribe and stuff, but for now, laissez le bon temps rouler. That's it. Thank you. Thanks for watching or listening to this episode of Bon Temps Club. I hope you enjoyed it. You can expect more of these every other Sunday. If you did like it, please like this video and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bon Temps Club. That's BONTEMPS Club. Thank you.